A big welcome back to What My Dad Does. Today I'm installing a window blind, so let's find out how we do that. So the blind I'm installing today is in the recess of the window. The difference mainly between curtains and blinds is the curtains you normally fix above a window, which is quite easy because it's into the block up here. Difficulty with fixing blinds in a recess is that you're going up and into a lintel, and lintels can be quite difficult to fix into. Why do you need to go into the lintel? Well, normally just here all we've got is a bit of plasterboard, which is probably about 12.5mm, then probably plasterboard adhesive, which is possibly 15mm, maybe 10mm. Gives you about 25-30mm at the most, and that's not normally deep enough to get a plug in and get a good fixing in. So normally, especially if it's quite a big blind, this is a fairly wide window, you're going to want to drill into that lintel. And it depends what type of lintel you've got. You might have a concrete lintel, you might have a metal lintel, you might even have a steel beam across the window, in which case you're never going to drill into that one. But normally in a house like this is a cavity wall. And so I've almost certainly got a cavity lintel up there, which is normally a thin bit of gauge of metal, which we can drill into up through the flange of that that lintel, and then into the block above. So I've got 4 brackets for this blind. And so obviously the first question is, where do we put the brackets? Well, sometimes they give you instructions. This hasn't given any instructions at all. But I would normally want to definitely put one very close to the pull cord, because that is taking most of the tugging that people are going to do when they're raising the blind. So you want to put definitely one near there. I then put the second one fairly-ish close to that, say a foot away. Put another one at the other end. I've got 4, so I'll probably put one either end and 2 equally spaced in the middle. Now, in and out wise, towards the window and away from the window wise, the rookie mistake is to put it right as far back as you can. The problem with that is when the blind comes down, it's going to hit normally the handle or the handle key, whatever is projecting further out. So what I do is I take a measurement off the frame to the furthest out point, which in this case is 50mm, and then I give it a little bit. So I would probably come no closer to this window than 70mm off of this frame to the back of my blind. So when it comes down, it's got a very small gap just to pass that handle, so it's not continually hitting the handle and damaging the blind or the handle, I suppose. In this case, the lady of the house doesn't want it right back to the window. She wants it as far forward as I can put it. Now, I can't put it right on this edge because what's here is just simply, again, a bit of plasterboard, adhesive. So we've probably got 30mm before we hit the block. I can't put the screw right into the edge of the block, so I'm going to go back another 30mm. So I'm going to go back about 60mm to the hole where I'm fixing here. But really, you could work out, you could be anywhere between that 60mm back and in this case 70mm off the window. You can be anywhere in that sort of range and you should be okay. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to use a masonry drill bit and I'm going to drill through my hole that I've marked and just see how far back that lintel is. And I should also be able to tap it with the drill bit, and normally you can tell if it's metal or if it's indeed concrete, but I'm pretty sure this will be metal. So let me draw that first hole and we'll see where the lintel is. Okay, so we've got absolutely nothing there. That is literally, that's it, that's metal. This bit of plaster board must be literally right on that lintel, and I can tell with that sound that it's metal. So I'm definitely going to have to drill into that. That is literally, that must be a 9.5mm bit of plasterboard, that, or maybe they haven't even plasterboarded it. Maybe they've just literally skimmed over it with some hardware or something and then finished plastered that, because that is very, very, very thin. But basically that means I'm going to have to drill into this metal all the way along. So I'm going to drill these 3 holes. I'm then going to put a metal drill bit on. I'm going to use a 6mm metal SDS drill bit. I'm going to drill through that lintel into the block beyond, and then as I've used a 6mm drill bit, I can use my red plugs to give myself a fixing. So I'll get on and do that. Okay, so that is the brackets in and done. And yep, as we thought, it was a thin bit of metal. Please note on there, I don't normally give safety advice, but you should wear safety goggles when doing that, because you're drilling through, bits of hot metal are coming off of that and it's above your face and it could drop in your eye. Wear your safety goggles, please. So anyway, that's all 4 brackets up. They're nice, tight and secure. We've gone right through that lintel, so that should be a really good fixing. And the next thing to do is just to clip the blind up. So let's do that. And so that's almost it. That was a bit fiddly to get up, but we got there in the end. Last but not least is the cord on all these blinds. These ones aren't too bad, but especially on the slatted pull blinds, they can normally have a very long pull cord, and they can get stuck around children's throats. So I always put in these brackets to make sure it can be secured to the wall. And I always put them up high enough as well so they can be wrapped around and kept out of children's way. Nobody wants anything like that to happen. So please make sure you use these brackets. It's only a simple screw into the wall. I normally put this one on these type of blinds straight directly, actually just slightly out front, because if you put it directly below, when the blind drops, obviously it'd be in the way. So just pull it slightly to the forward and that should be fine. Anyway, I hope that's helped. I hope that's okay. So the worst bit is going into the lintel. You need a good SDS drill bit, which is nice and sharp. You should be able to get that no problem through there. Just make sure that you're well protected from anything falling on your face, and indeed your hands. It will send little bits of hot metal onto your hands as well, so just be careful with that. Anyway, I hope that's okay. Please give me a like if you enjoyed the video, and hopefully I'll catch you on the next one.